I want to talk to you this morning about a vision, about having a vision for your property business. I think it's really important. All of the successful businesses, all of best practice for business management is to have a vision. And to me, there's a simple reason, because if you don't actually have a vision, if you don't have a vision for where you want to be, well, first off, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know where you're heading, if you don't have a destination set out, how do you know if you've actually arrived? How do you know if you've achieved what you want to achieve? But also, if you really have a strong vision about where you want to go, and also why you want to achieve that, that's going to give you motivation, which will carry you through all of the difficult times in your business. When you're looking at a vision for your property business, what first question you need to ask is where do you want to be? I think it was Bill Gates said people overestimate what they can achieve in a year, but they underestimate what they can achieve in 10. So we want to have a look in 10 years' time and say, look, where do we want our business to be in 10 years' time? What do we want our business to look like? And I think the first question to ask yourself in this process is what is the purpose of my business? What do I want to achieve with it? So not I want it to be this big, I want to have this number of properties, I want this amount of money, but actually what do you want to achieve with that? In other words, why? Why do you want to have a property portfolio, a property business? Why do you want to have, the income? What do you actually want to do with it personally? So are you just after a little bit of extra money? Are you after it to replace your job? Are you after it to have a fully fledged business that you can run? So you want to have your own business. You want to have employees, and you want to do that. Do you want to retire? Do you want to have that behind you to pay for your retirement? Is there a particular lifestyle that you're after? Or are you going to create a legacy to pass on to your children, or to do work for charities? What is it? What's the purpose of your property business? And obviously that's the first question. What's the purpose? And then you can start to build from that all the information. So have a think. What do you want to achieve? If you got your property business to where you want it to be, what would you do with that income? What would you do with that money that it's generating? What do you want to do? Where do you want to be for your life? And it's okay to be completely selfish on this. A lot of people shy away from the idea that they want to have a certain lifestyle. They want to have 3 holidays a year, or they want to have the big house. They want to have a nice car. Don't shy away from those things. Just embrace them. Okay, if you want it to be a lifestyle business, what lifestyle do you want? And actually write that down and quantify what the purpose of that business is. The reason why this is so important is because it really helps you then build a business around that. So for instance, if your purpose of the business was so that you can travel the world, you would need to build a portfolio that was more passive, that wasn't taking your time day to day to run, so that you would have the freedom to be able to travel the world if that's what you wanted to do. You'd have to build key relationships with property management companies, people that you trust, build up that trust so that everything was under control. Or the other way, you'd set up a team that would run it for you in a little office. But again, without having that purpose in mind, without having what you want, you're not actually going to be able to make those decisions to build it to that point. So that's the first thing. Figure out what is the purpose of what you're trying to do. And it doesn't have to be, I said it's fine to be selfish, and it is, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Obviously, one of the main things for doing this is for motivation. And I've got a friend, his name's Will, and he does mindset. He teaches business mindset. And one of the things that he said is if you want to increase your motivation to achieve anything, there's 3 main factors. The first is pride. So not pride as in people look at pride as bad, but actually pride can be a good thing. We're proud. We're really pleased of what we've done, and so that it motivates us because we'll take the credit for what we want to do. And that's kind of where we go to lifestyle and those kind of things. But there are two other things that really drive motivation. One is compassion, which is when you're doing it for somebody else because you want to help them. You're very compassionate. You want to help that person, and that's why you find actually a lot of property investors will do training because they actually want to give back. They want to help other people achieve the success that they're having in their property business. So pride, compassion, and you can build that compassion. We've talked about what you want to achieve, but you can build that compassion into your purpose. Is there some charity work that you want to do that will enable, that your property portfolio will enable you to do? If you're looking for freedom, what are you going to do with that freedom? And actually, I would say as well for happiness, if you're actually, a selfish life isn't a happy life. A happy life is one that's for other people. So if you've got an issue that you're particularly passionate about and you want to make a difference in that area for other people, then that's a great thing to add into your purpose of the business. And so it's not just for you, it's also for other people. And the third thing is gratefulness, actually. If we're grateful for what people have given us, we're motivated then to do something for them. And so obviously with that gratefulness, I mean, I think to be in a position where we can buy property and build a portfolio, we should be hugely grateful to that. Not necessarily grateful to specific people, but we should be grateful to the situation that we're in, and that should create a desire to give back. So I don't want to labour that point too much. Obviously, pride, you want to achieve something for yourself, but you also want to be compassionate. You want to help other people and be grateful, and build those three things, because that will, if you've got all of those three things within your purpose, that's going to really give you a powerful motivator to push through any difficult times, and the ups and downs that are with any business. So once you've got that set in your mind, once you've got your purpose set in your mind, you want to look at describing what success looks like to you. So this is where you know what your destination is. When you've achieved this, when this happens, you know that is success. So if you don't have, as I said before, if you don't have a destination, how do you know when you've arrived? And you can describe what that destination is for you as far as your purpose. So it could be, I want to be able to spend 6 months of the year in Australia, away from the cold of the English winter. You want to spend that time actually in hotels, staying in different hotels. And so actually that's it doesn't have to be a financial figure necessarily. It can be something like that, but tying in with your purpose, what success would be described as. It could be, my success would be having a small office with 10 people in it who are running my property portfolio. So describe what it is that in detail, what success would look like, so that then actually whether you've achieved it or not. So great. Okay, so we've got your purpose. If you've defined that, and then you've described what success would look like, you now need to look at the figures, and you need to look at what actually does the property business have to look like to achieve what I want to achieve. You've got, okay, this is success if it's spend 6 months in Australia every year. What property assets, what business do you need? What is that business going to look like for you to be able to achieve that? What would your portfolio look like? How big will it be? Will it be a mix of residential and commercial? Will it be all residential? What sort of yields are you getting? Try and make this measurable, so actually, if I'm going to spend 6 months in Australia, this is what it's going to cost me, and so this is the income that I need for that, and this is the property that I need to create that income. And so it's all simple, broken down steps. So you've got an idea. This is the vision. This is the purpose. And this is actually the money generating factors that I need in my business to give me that. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Just one thing to say, for me, my preference here would be not to talk about numbers of properties, but to talk about value of properties. Because if you say, okay, I want 100 properties, well, actually, if you've got 100 properties worth £100,000, the point is you could have less properties and achieve the same amount of returns to fulfill your purpose, but you wouldn't have all of the difficulty of having that many properties. Each property needs to have, management services. So don't look at it as this is the number of properties that I need. Look at it as this is the amount of value in property assets that I need to produce this amount of money for me. Okay, so we've got that. We've got our purpose. We've got a description of what success looks like. We've got we're building on that with the actual property assets that we need to achieve that. We also need to consider what business structures we need to have in place in order to achieve that business. So, if you're looking at a portfolio of £10 million, how are you going to actually manage that portfolio? Are you going to have a small office with people in it? Are you going to subcontract it to management companies? In which case, you need to start building those relationships, and that gives us starts to build a pathway of actually the things that we need to do, the relationships we need to build to enable us to achieve that business, which will then achieve the success, which will then achieve the purpose. And this is where you kind of tie it all together and make sure it's congruent and works all the way through, because it's no good saying, look, I want to have a £10 million worth of property and I want to just manage it myself, but then I want to spend 6 months in Australia. It's just simply not going to work. So you need to make sure it's congruent with all of those factors, and make sure you can fit all of that in. So a big portfolio would mean lots of work. And so you can do that, but you need to do that by building in those assets, either relationship with management companies or your own office to run it. So that's basically the structure that you go through. And the final point to mention is this idea of it needs to be measurable. So I don't know if you've heard of the SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable. I've forgotten the other ones, but anyway, the idea is it needs to be measurable. So you need to be able to put it together in a measurable statement to say, this is the structure that I want. I want to employ 5 people. I want to have a property portfolio of £10 million. I want that to be split 60-40 between residential and commercial. And then success for me is, spending 6 months in Australia. And I want to do that because I want to help homelessness in Australia. So that will give you the whole basis of all of those things put together. Tie that all together into a little plan, and there you have your perfect 10-year vision for your property business. And I would encourage anyone who's looking to get into property to go through that procedure, because you might find that it actually really helps focus you on what your next steps are. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's Ben from the Property Investment Academy. If you're interested in getting into property, certainly please have a look at practicalpropertyinvesting.com. This is our new course, which breaks down all of the information you need to build a property portfolio into a 6-week program. So practicalpropertyinvesting.com. Have a look at that and sign up if that's something you're interested in. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys soon. Thank you.